What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the RedBeard Outdoors podcast. I'm Jonathan, your host, and today we've got a guest for you guys that I met through Phorm Outdoors on social media, and his name is Mike Coleman. And Mike is just an outdoorsman that loves getting out after it. He loves going after elk. He says he's got some more hunts going on this fall, so we'll get into those as well. But again, just bringing someone on here that to share their story and what they've got going on, and a member of the Phorm Outdoors community as well. That's been a part of the Facebook group and has helped answer questions on there and brought people into the group as well. So with that being said, for people that don't know who you are, Mike, who are you?
Oh, well, I'm a husband, a father, avid outdoorsman. I'm I guess a brand owner. We also have a brand that we use a platform to educate people and try to help people. And um, uh, Phorm Outdoors has also been a huge part of getting more people involved in the outdoors and a healthier lifestyle and stuff like that. So, other than that, man, I just a guy that loves being outside and hunting and fishing and spending time with my family.
No, that's awesome. So let's kind of start from the beginning with you. Where are you located at right now? What state are you in?
I'm in Tennessee.
Tennessee. Okay. What got this huge desire for you to come out west and hunt the western animals that you do? And you said you're going back out a little bit later for pronghorn, and you said mule deer.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah. So why? I mean, you've got a lot of whitetails in Tennessee. You've got black bears in Tennessee. You've
Yeah.
got a lot of stuff going on there in Tennessee. What kind of started that journey for you? Um, wanting to go out west.
Man, honestly, I think like anybody that doesn't live out there, I mean, you see all the stuff on the TV, outdoor channels and stuff, YouTube, and elk
Don't say
has
primos.
yeah,
Okay.
no. um, you know, elk has been a bucket list thing for me. I mean, I grew up in South Florida, so I'm literally the furthest place that you could probably be from elk.
Yeah.
Um, and it was always a species that it just really intrigued me. They're large animals, the country that they're in, just everything about them. I just honestly, I love them. And I've been wanting to go out there for years, and it's one of those things that it's very it's very overwhelming if you don't live out there, and then if you also have never done it to find the information, find where you should go, tag information, all that stuff or whatever. So for a long time I was trying to find somebody to kind of plan it with that had already been out there or knew more about it or whatever. And I mean that is hard, um, to find people that are willing to go with you, take the time off work, do all that stuff or whatever. And then honestly, last year I told my wife, I was like, I don't care if I go by myself. I'm going. So whether it's um, uh, no matter what state, whatever I can get a tag for, I'm kind of putting in for all kinds of stuff to see what I can get, and we'll make it work. But I just made the decision to just do it. I was tired of waiting, tired of trying to get other people scheduled and stuff, to line up with mine and everything else. So, but it's just been I'd say a dream of mine, or a big passion, a want of mine to go out there and do that and do a backpack hunt, be out there, carry everything you need kind of deal. And I wanted that experience. So,
Yeah. No, for sure. So I guess walk us through first when did you get started hunting in general, and then do you prefer rifle, bow? So get us started from there. When did it get
yeah.
started?
So I've grown up in South Florida. My grandfather and my dad, I grew up hunting with them. Um, we My grandfather's a disabled Vietnam vet, so me growing up, he didn't work, so we spent a lot of time together. So it would be, hey, this weekend I'm going to, this management area. I'm going to do this. We're going fishing after I pick you up from school, kind of thing. So I was always exposed to the outdoors through him and through my dad.
Mm,
I grew up with a great grandfather as well that loved to fish. So being around that stuff, I grew up with it. So it's been something. My grandfather was also he ran a bow club for a long time. So I got started with archery very very young. Obviously, I was shooting a bow before I was shooting a gun, but the gun wasn't very far behind. Um, so now as an adult, I mean, I have rifle hunted, but I prefer bow hunting um, for the challenge, for the greater connection I feel with archery hunting. I mean, I love gun hunting. I mean, I've taken plenty of things with rifle, but if I had to choose, that's part of the reason why the elk hunt I did was an archery hunt. So
gotcha. No, I definitely understand. That's that's awesome. And I agree. It's as someone that has a brand, in the outdoor space, it could be, it's kind of easy to go either way. Either pigeonhole yourself into a specific niche and become really good at that, or open up the opportunities to other things. And so, I went really hard on archery for, I don't know, it's been 5-ish years, because I love it. I really do. Archery has a special
mhm,
place in my heart. There's nothing like elk in September, in my opinion. And I'm getting into the whitetail stuff, and there's nothing like hearing, something that is not a squirrel coming through the trees, and just that sound and your heart thumping, and doing that with a bow rather than a rifle. That for me is those 2 times a year are amazing. But then, you add in the rifle. And for me, I've got young kids that are getting into it. My middle child, actually, last year was his first year hunting. He wanted to do it with a bow, didn't want to start with a rifle,
mhm,
um, and had many opportunities. He same thing this year. But my youngest son is going to be able to hunt out west, starting next year,
that's
and
awesome.
for him to have a greater chance, at the age of 12, to be able to actually get something down, um, I'm putting him behind a rifle, and
Mhm,
he's learning all the technique and the proper, how to shoot out to 100 yards, the breathing, the follow through with the trigger pull, the cheek rest, making sure that your parallax is good. Like, he's learning all of that, and he shoots a bow as well.
mhm,
But anyway, that's something that I feel like, for me personally, especially as a dad, I want to open my horizons so that my kids aren't stuck with just archery, which
yeah.
they love archery. They all have bows. They love shooting it. But even though I think Utah, the legal poundage is 30 pounds to be able to hunt big
Mhm,
game. And for me, I'm like, I mean, unless they're sub 15 yards, like that's a hard sell for me.
yeah.
When I see people that are shooting 70, 80 pounds, I can't get a pass through. It's
Mhm.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a little hard for me, and I'm kind of
Yeah.
a stickler on crossbows. That's a whole nother discussion as to where
Yeah.
I think they fit. I don't think they fit in archery season,
Yeah.
unless you're injured, old, or you're like, a super young kid out east that can start hunting at like 6 or 7, whatever. But
Yeah.
anyway, um, I want them to have success. I want them to learn, and not be scared of guns, obviously, and to have a good open horizon. So if they, as they get older, they have jobs, they have sports. Maybe sports run through archery season, but then they can late season hunt with a rifle, or things like that. Like, that's kind of my
Yeah.
mindset on it.
Yeah.
Higher success rate and being able to keep their mind open for it. So I like that you're kind of both, for different reasons, that you
Mhm.
enjoy both styles of hunting. So when was your first year? I guess when was your first year, uh, coming out west to hunt elk?
So I want to say I've been to New Mexico. That was a rifle hunt. I did elk out
Mm,
there in New Mexico, and that was 4 years ago,
okay.
I believe. And then ever since then, I've been trying to get a game plan together to come out for September. So
Okay, sweet. So,
So,
4 years ago. So, how long had you been wanting to go on an elk hunt before you actually got to go on one?
ooh, man, huh, 10, 15, 20 years. I mean,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, as long as I was able to probably feasibly do it. I mean, it was
Mm-hmm.
something that
Mm-hmm.
it just has always been something that I've been drawn to. So,
So,
years.
walk us through from an Eastern guy that, obviously it's a bigger cost. Um, being able to come out and hunt out west. I mean, it's a big cost, when you add up groceries, gas, mileage on your truck, all the gear. That's a big expense. If you're flying out, you're gonna have to fly the meat back. I figured out this last year just from doing whitetail stuff that it's almost cheaper to drive, and
Yeah.
even we're looking at getting a rental so that we're not putting miles on our trucks,
Mm,
to drive. It might be cheaper to do that by the time you come back with meat. I think they wanted to charge us, it was almost $1,000 for 200, I think it was 150, 200 pounds of meat. And it
yeah.
wasn't even same day delivery. It was like 4-day delivery. I'm like, you can't even
Yeah.
guarantee me that
Nah.
the meat's going to get to me good. And you're
Yeah.
wanting me to
Nah.
spend $1,000. I'm like, yeah, that's okay. So,
Yeah.
um, anyway, walk us through kind of what it took, why it took the 10, 15 years, and then what it took for you to get prepared. And then were you successful your first year out here in New Mexico?
Uh. Yeah. Yeah. I wound
Okay.
up getting
So
an elk that year. So yeah.
yeah, so walk us through that process then from an Eastern guy's perspective, that hasn't, I imagine you hadn't been to New Mexico. If you
Nope.
had, yeah, exactly. So you
No.
going to a whole new state, all new
Yeah.
country, essentially, and never been there before. Walk us through your process over those 10 to 15 years that it took for you from the moment you got the idea to come out and hunt out west and hunt elk,
Hmm.
and until you had the elk down and you were like, oh shit, this is a lot of work. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
walk us through that process.
um. I mean, man, really having a mindset, an idea, um, that you can carry to fruition, I mean, is always something that is super gratifying for me. But you know, having the idea, from the idea, you go to planning, and then you start looking into, okay, well, to do this type of hunt, what am I going to need? Well, then you start looking at all the gear that you don't have, because I mean, if you're a whitetail hunter like I am, it's not like you're, oh, well, I got a pack and I got a sleep system and I got all this other stuff, because it's not stuff that you typically do whitetail hunting.
Mm,
So you start looking at that and how you're gonna, get all that stuff, and then what state you're gonna go, because there's, just about every state out west you can hunt in. And then you start looking into tags and, point systems and how many different point systems there are and strategies. And I mean, it's a lot. And sometimes, I mean, when it's not something you're used to, it does take several years of understanding. And I mean, that's like there's, let's just say in New Mexico, it being a total complete, lottery system, that it's by chance. Montana, you have
mhm,
points, Wyoming, all that good stuff. Understanding, Montana point systems for, like, for this year, having a strategy to figure out how to go into the draw, what are my odds, like there's, the special units that everybody wants to go into, that once you start looking, that I would have had to have start putting for points in 25 years ago,
yeah,
so like putting in now,
point creep is
knowing
awful.
that, yeah, like I'll never pull that permit ever,
Right.
you know. So from the planning stage, it goes to, again, the gear stuff, and then the logistics. Are you going to fly? Are you going to drive? Me, I'm a driver. I drive everywhere. Um, it makes more sense to me for, kind of like what you said. They were going to charge you $1,000 for meat. Can't even guarantee you're going to get it
Yeah.
next day. So that's just something that was like a non-negotiable for me. I'm like, if I get something down, I want to be responsible for it. I want to make sure it's cared for the way it needs to be cared for. Make sure I get it back home so I can get as much as I can out of it. Um, so once you get through logistics, your tags, all your gear stuff, then I mean, I I'm big with the type of uh, type of hunting that revolves around the camaraderie that you get with it. So, you know, I could have went out there, you know, by myself to you know, this last hunt in September and also New Mexico, but it's something I want to share with somebody, and that's what's hard when you have a tag trying to find somebody that's just like, yeah, I'll just go just to go, you know. So then it comes down to, you know, if you're gonna make that decision to go by yourself, or you know, try to find somebody to go with you, and you know, I mean, that's taken, you know, several years. I mean, I was in New Mexico 4 years ago, and just now this year was able to go back out for you know, September archery in Montana. So, I mean, and that is,
It's been 4 years essentially that you weren't able to come back out here.
yeah, I mean, well, I mean, and a lot of that, you know, we've had a lot of things happen, you know, and you know, personal lives that, you know, it wasn't really feasible to, you know, to spend the money to go out there. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, me being a driver, it's expensive, you know, fuel costs, food, you know, if you're gonna, you know, hotel room a night or two or whatever. I mean, that all that stuff adds up. So being able to put that money aside, knowing, you know, hey, I'm going to do this again, and I'm gonna set myself up. I'm gonna put the work in now, so when the time does come, I am prepared, and it's not. I know I can go do it. So
Right. Right. No, that makes sense. All right. So yeah, with I mean, a whole 4 years, some people can't even stick with a job for 4 years, let
yeah,
alone the idea that they can, that they have to wait for a hunt that is even less successful than the one that they just went on because you did rifle. Now you're going out
hmm
for archery. The statistics out there float around 10% of anyone out there actually get an elk with a bow every year. And I don't know if that's elk or bull. I need to probably verify that. But either way, it's about 10% end up with that every year. And I will tell you, it sucks being back in that 10% or in that 90% because I didn't get a bull yet. So the
yeah,
plan is I've still got the late season archery I can go after. We'll see what happens there. Um,
good deal.
but with that, that's a hard thing to want to pursue.
hmm
It's hard enough for someone like me that I'm in Utah. I've got the over the counter units here. I've got limited entry I can put in for cheap compared to other states. I've got
Yeah,
Idaho just north of me. That's pretty. We'll see how this year goes with their new draw system. Like you said, New Mexico is right there next to me. That's a random lottery if I want to put in there.
hmm
Montana, I've been putting in points for. Wyoming points. Like all of these great states are right here within driving distance of me. Not to mention, I could go over to Oregon. I could go over to Washington if I really wanted to. Arizona is right. Like I'm smack dab right in the middle of, where elk are. And so,
yeah,
and that can still be difficult, especially if you have a year where
hmm
you're not seeing much or you didn't tag out or whatever it may be. So, what kept you going for those 4 years of wanting to come back out and then do it with a bow instead of a rifle this year?
yeah. It was one of those things that after going out to New Mexico and being successful there with the rifle, um, that I told myself, I said, if I'm successful here and I'm able to get something with a rifle, the next elk I get will be with a bow. I said
Okay.
there is that is my thing. I said if I seal the deal on this, whether I get a tag and I'm not able to get it, I'm going for archery season. And I mean, Montana general, it's nice. You know, if you don't capitalize during archery season, you can come back out during rifle season with the general tag, which is nice. So it kind of gives you another chance to not eat your tag. But I told myself, like, I gave myself, X amount of time, and pretty much said that if during this a lot of time, I kind of had already told my boss to say, hey man, if I call you from out here, it's probably to extend my stay. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
was really really trying, but over the course of the in between time from this September to my New Mexico hunt or whatever, I knew that that is what I wanted to do. It was just a goal that I set with myself that, I'm successful, this is the next step for me is archery.
Awesome. And what state were you put in for again for archery?
Um, I put in for Montana, and then I also put in for New Mexico for this year. I was going to do Wyoming, and I didn't wind up doing it. But I wound up literally drawing everything but a doe license in Montana this year, which was wild to me. So Montana literally took all of my money this year.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you're going so you headed out. Did you walk us through did you do e-scouting? Did you hire an outfitter? Did you like what did you do again from an Eastern guy's perspective to come out here and hunt with a bow in a state you've never really explored before?
Yeah. So where I had an idea of where I wanted to hunt, my wife had actually made a friend who lives out there that does a lot of photography stuff and everything. And I had got with her and I said, hey, I'm kind of looking at this area. Like, what do you know of that area? And she's like, she goes, well, I don't know much about it other than, I mean, I've seen, decent things come out of there. And I said, okay, cool. That's all I needed to know. But before that, I had done a ton of e-scouting. And then, I mean, that is a whole animal in itself. Like when you're
Yeah.
a whitetail hunter, I mean, there's some things that kind of carry over from, terrain features and, you know, doing research on elk behavior and the time of year and what they're doing, where they're looking at, elevation. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. So it was a total DIY hunt. I didn't have an outfitter, didn't have anybody. And I actually wound up going with a friend of mine that last minute was able to pick up a cow tag after he called Montana Game and Fish.
Nice.
They had available leftover tags for I don't remember what the tag numbers, like the description of the tag, but essentially it was good for a cow tag for any 400 unit, which wound up working out because we weren't too far from a 400 unit. So he was like, our main goal is get get your deal done, get your tag filled, and then from there, if we got time, we'll worry about this. So,
Right.
but yeah, so yeah, no outfitter, doing a ton of e-scouting, trying to figure out the area, and then dropping pins on stuff that looked like where elk should be. I mean, that's a whole process in itself that I probably spent the last 4 months doing. I mean, I sat in front of this computer for months just going over maps, looking at Google Images. I mean, looking on Onyx, just
Yeah.
everything I could, historical imagery. I mean, all the stuff. So to really try to get an understanding of what I was looking at when I got there. So
Did you go through any courses like tree line pursuits or anything like that to figure out a little bit more in depth map reading and things along those lines?
no, I'm semi familiar with topo maps just from past stuff that I've done. I looked into that course and others. A lot of the stuff was just kind of uh, free things that are available to everybody. Doing a lot of the Onyx YouTube videos and stuff.
Hmm.
And I mean, there's countless other things that go over e-scouting and people that I follow on YouTube and stuff. So just trying to take little bits of information and then put the pieces of the puzzle together. So like obviously nobody's gonna, there is no secret recipe. There is no, oh, this is, now the courses that you pay for, they may be more, you know, I don't know what the right word is, but they may be more willing to share some of that information because it is a service that you're paying for. So, for somebody like me or, that has never been out there before, that may be the right course of action for someone that's looking for more stuff. But I was willing to put in more of the digging around, trying to find the nitty gritty of stuff and try to figure
Hmm.
it out for myself because that's just who I am. So,
No, I got you. No, that makes sense. So lots of e-scouting, talking with some people that were out kind of in that general area. And then walk us through, I mean, did you fly in? Did you drive out? What'd you do?
I left my house on a Thursday after work. I drove up to Paul's, a buddy of mine that went with me. He lives in Illinois. So drove up after work, got to his house, that evening. Moved everything over to his truck. Like I said, when he said he was going to go, he kind of he he went off the deep end. He wound up buying a rooftop tent for his truck and the rack and all the stuff for it, and he kind of outfitted all that stuff. So he's like, man, we'll instead of driving your truck around the woods, he goes, I got this other one that we can take that I don't really care about, and if we beat it up a
Okay.
little bit, we beat it up a little bit. So it worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
And
That's a
so
good
from
friend.
there, yeah, it was awesome company. I mean, he had never been out west to do anything like that, so I mean, he loved every bit of it. He was great company. He's a good friend of mine. We had a good time. Um, and so from there, we woke up the next morning and drove to Great Falls, South Dakota. That was about a little over 15 hours worth of driving one day. Figured that was a good place to stop for the evening, and then from there we got up. There were some stores in Bozeman that we wanted to stop at, kind of do some man shopping before we got there, and so we woke up the next day, drove to Bozeman, and then from there finished the drive to where we were going to be, and yeah, I wound up meeting up with the friend that my wife had met. That's now friend. We're friends. Um, and had dinner with them, her and her husband, and spent the night with them because going into an area that I'd never been in the middle of the night, just was not something that I was wanting to do. Paul was game for whatever, but I was like, man, we'll just wait for the morning, go out early, and so we stayed the night with them, got a good night's sleep, got a shower, and then woke up the next morning and headed to the mountains, man.
That's awesome. Okay, so how long were you planning on being out for your hunt?
I gave myself 6 days of hunting time. So from the time
Okay.
that we actually started, like that morning that we got up and drove into the mountain, that was day one. So I gave myself 6 full days of
6
time.
hunting days, not including
Yes,
driving. Okay,
yes, yeah.
cool.
So, um,
So
yeah.
so I guess, walk us through. You woke up that next morning, felt rested, you were ready to go. What ended up happening?
So we woke up that morning, headed to a first spot that I had dropped a pin on that I wanted to check out, and remind you, this is all public land. There was no
Mm-hmm.
private, so this was all, you know. So as we get there, I honestly was surprised by the lack of people that we seen. We seen a couple trucks. There was one spot that I had set up. I dropped a pin for a potential campsite as like a base camp setup. That there was already two trucks, or I guess campers. There was one camper with no vehicles or anything, and then another truck or whatever. But so we just kept going to another spot, and we got there and there was nobody there. So we immediately got our bows out, um, made sure everything was good from travel, checked zeros and stuff. Everything was good. So we right from there, man, just took off, started putting boots to the dirt, and started pounding the mountain. Probably within the first, I think it was like 2 hours where we were, we decided to kind of side hill around to a drainage that I wanted to check out, and kind of started with some soft cow calling and stuff, and had it actually wanted to be a hunter, but had some heard some elk, and then we wound up calling that guy to us, not knowing it was a guy, which I guess was a kind of a bummer way to start the first day. But I just looked at it like, hey man, he's out here trying to do what we're doing, ain't no big deal. So we headed off in the opposite direction that he was going, and um, headed up to a glassing spot, and we spent a couple hours up there just glassing around, and didn't see anything, nothing that really kind of stuck out that I wanted to go check out there from where we were glassing. So we headed back down to the truck and wound up going probably 7 miles down the road to another spot I wanted to check out. Um, got there in enough time to uh, head down to Finger Ridge, set up, do some glassing, a little bit of calling just to kind of see if we could get anything to respond. And sat there, glass, didn't hear anything, didn't see anything. But the terrain, like there was just something about this spot that just kept calling. Like ever since we got to Montana, like crossed the line, I was like, I was just looking at maps and I was like, man, there's just something about this spot that just I don't know. It just looks good. You just look at it and then you see it for the first time and you're like, man, there's got to be stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I went into the hunt with the mindset of I don't want to get married to an area just because it looks good. I want to stay mobile. I want to stay open to
Mm-hmm.
moving where I need to move so I don't get stuck somewhere and not see anything because I think it looks good. So hunt where the
Yep.
elk are, not where you think they are.
Yep.
So, um, so as we were walking out, we were walking up this ridge, and actually the drainage that we actually walked by, we would stop every now and then. I threw out a cow call or whatever, and I actually heard a bugle, and I was like, oh, that's all right. I was like, that sounds pretty good. And it was down in this drainage that we had hiked down um, to get to where we were. And I was like, all right. So I bugled back, and then he ripped one back, and I'm like, man. I was like, all right. So we sat there trying to find him, and it was getting dark, and I was like, I think we need to go over top of the ridge. Let's set up camp, and we'll keep listening. I'll keep coming over the top of the ridge and listening through the night and seeing if I still hear him. So we went over the ridge, set up camp, and then at dark I had went back over top of the ridge and just kind of was hanging around listening. And he had moved further down the drainage away from us, but very vocal. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, well, he's not gonna go far. He'll be here in the morning. So went back to camp, ate some dinner, tried to get some sleep, and then made a game plan for the morning. And woke up the next morning, got everything ready, hiked over top of the ridge, and started coming down this finger. And I let out a location bugle. He fired back, and then we made our way down the ridge, and we actually had a separate bull chuckle that was on the same ridge as us, but down in the drainage a little bit. He sounded like he was like facing us. So I was like, well, let's go ahead and get ready because I don't know what this is. So we kind of exchanged some calls. And then I let it cool off a little bit, and then I didn't hear anything anymore, so we stopped. And we were actually able because when we stopped, the bull that I had originally heard made it up to that other top of the ridge that was across from us. So we were able to glass him. He had 3 cows. He was a very nice 5x5. I mean, nice bull. And I was like, hey man, that looks perfect for me for first archery bull. I'm cool with that. So I'm also a firm believer in don't pass something up on your first day that you wouldn't pass up on your last.
Yep.
So I'm looking to, as long as it's legal, that's what I had in mind. So, um, so after we got eyes on that bull, I was like, cool, let's make a game plan. Let's grab some breakfast, have some coffee, figure out the game plan, figure out how we're going to move in on them. Well, as we were sitting there, I had heard something on the kind of behind us because we were kind of facing down that ridge where we seen that bull, and heard something behind us. And I was like, man, I asked Paul, I was like, did you hear that? And he said, no, I didn't hear nothing. I was like, it sounded like something like when something kind of stumbles on loose gravel or whatever, and you can kind of hear it. And I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, that didn't. I mean, there was cows out there and stuff, but I was like, man, it didn't sound like a cow, like it. But I'm like, well, I didn't see anything, so we finished up and kind of continued with the game plan, and we made it to the end of this ridge right before it started going down into the drainage. Like it kind of went where it was flat and it was a bench, and there was some sage right on the edge of it before it started going downhill. And I was like, well, let me go ahead and call real quick, and just to make sure we're not about to go down and push anything else, just just to be cautious or whatever. And I had called, let out some cow calls, and we stood there for a minute or whatever. And coming up this hill, I start seeing antlers. This bull came in quiet. He didn't make a sound, didn't say nothing. I see antlers coming up the hill, and the angle of the hill, I seen his antlers, and we were able to squat down before he even seen us. So I told Paul, I said, hey, get down. There's a bull right here. And he's like, oh, is it big? I said, it's legal. That's all I care about. So he's like, how close is he? And I said he's close. And Paul actually wound up, he got that interaction. He got it on camera. Because we were trying to film some stuff to make a video for the page and all that stuff or whatever. And I mean, if anybody that self films, which I know you do, anybody else out there, it's difficult to do that stuff, man. So he uh he he pulled out his phone. He's like, I don't want to get up and spook him or whatever. I said, yeah, just stay still. So the sage that we were squatted down behind was probably, I don't know, probably waist high, man. It was like the perfect ground blind. If you could pick one, it was perfect. And I kneeled down, and as I kneeled down, there was another bull that was off to the right that was in some pines that chuckled. So there was two bulls there that we didn't know were there. Well, this one had already came up the hill. He wanted to be in a smaller 5x5, and when that bull chuckled, he came up the hill and was quartering to me. Well, when that bull chuckled, it kind of spooked him, and he literally turned broadside. And I was already drawn back, kneeling down, had my pack on, had everything like had no time to do anything. I was able to draw back, and as soon as he turned broadside, I flung her out there, and it was right in that triangle, man. It was a complete pass through. I'm pretty certain my arrow is like in orbit somewhere because how the angle steep of the terrain was. I'm sure I've never found it. But he went about 60 yards and piled up downhill, of course. Um, and as soon as I shot, Paul, we got up, and I mean, anybody that's archery hunted long enough, you know the sound that you hear, and like you just know that
Oh yeah.
you got it. And I was
Yeah,
like, dude,
that
that
hollow
was a good shot,
pumpkin
man.
sound.
Yeah,
It's
and
like when
it's
you
funny
thump
because
a pumpkin. Yeah.
yeah, and that in the video, I actually put on my Facebook, and somebody actually said that, like, "Wow, man, did you shoot a pumpkin?" So
Yeah.
it's funny you
That's what
say
it
that,
sounds
but
like.
yeah, yeah. Um,
That's
so
awesome.
after that, yeah,
So that was day 2?
yeah, yeah,
Wow. That is awesome, man. Yeah, it's exciting. I love hearing people's stories like that because it really does vary. And I kind of said this in a video I put out on Instagram. Just the the elk have a say, unfortunately.
hmm
Animals have a say in your hunt as well. They obviously are out there to survive. They're really good at that, and uh, it is a lot of preparation on your end, which sounds like you'd put in a lot of preparation. But there's always a little bit of luck sprinkled in there. Because
yeah,
if you guys hadn't, whatever it was, there could have been one or two other decisions that you made that day that would not have put you in that spot. And you could have been on
correct.
another hillside thinking, well, frick, there's no elk here, you know,
hmm
and instead you're in between two bulls. And so there's a lot that goes into that, and that's really awesome. I'm really excited that you were able to tag out. I mean, it was literally 4 years in the making.
hmm
Um, all up to that, you prepped, you shot your bow, made sure your scouting was good, and then you had a great friend that was there with you. That
Yeah.
was willing to drive out there with you. That's another big thing that
hmm
good support system. You had those people that allowed you to stay at their house, gave you a little bit of pointers. Like there's so many things that went into this success that, that's awesome. That's super
Yeah.
exciting that you were able to do that. Um, so, you get up to the bull and then what?
Man, we so we originally we got like immediately kind of started walking to where I had shot him because so mind you, this bull came in and we stepped it off and it was 18 yards. So I
Wow.
mean he was
Right
on
there.
top of us.
Yeah.
So um kind of went to where he was standing, and then as we walked up, I seen him down the hill. He turned, he cut back to the right, and then he wound up out of sight, cut back to the left, and then I heard him. I start coughing, and then I heard the crash. So I was like, well, Paul, I think he's essentially at the at the bottom of this drainage. Um, so
Can't make it easy for you.
no, no, and so um, so me and Paul kind of talked for a little bit and about just kind of make sure, give him some time, to expire and stuff. So we and then Paul Paul pulled out his phone, and we were sitting here talking and going back and forth and kind of going over what just happened and everything. And then he's like, "All right, let's go put hands on this thing." So we immediately start going down. We're there's we obviously see blood and everything. We're kind of looking for my arrow, but I just kind of knew it was not, I wasn't going to find it. So,
Yeah.
um, so as we walk up, um, anybody that's hunted long enough and has had a dream for as long as I've had to do this, like walking up to that bull, I don't care if it would have been a cow. It doesn't matter to me. It was the culmination of a dream coming, from, preparation to an opportunity to being successful and stuff like that. Like it's very emotional, and, you know, getting emotional over it, walking up to it and stuff, my thing is I call my wife, and of course, like I had told her, on InReach Messenger and stuff, like, hey, arrow flung. And then, she's, I need an update and not this vague thing. I need to know. So like, uh, so from that message, I was able to get, like, there's a lot of people, that, I believe in Christ, and that, there is more to life than we think. And, I think things happen for reasons. I think, you know, and I just think it's the way God works. So that being said, I had enough service right where that bull was, and I haven't had service any other time
Mm-hmm.
to FaceTime my wife. And I pulled out my phone and I had service. I've FaceTimed her, of course. She's already crying and tears and stuff. And of course, she starts saying something. I flip the camera around. There's a bull there. Then, Paul, he's like, don't start all that because, we were doing fine. And so it's a very emotional time, because she has seen the work. Paul he knows the work that I put in, and it's a moment, and those types of moments are why, going back to the camaraderie thing and being able to be there with Paul. Like, Paul made a comment. He's like, the only thing different on the way that we felt was you flung the arrow. He goes, other than that, man, he goes, I was just as excited. I was just, I shared that with you. And that's what I like,
Mm-hmm.
because Paul's
Mm-hmm.
already said, he's like, man, he goes, we're coming back next year. He goes, I'm putting it for, like, let's do this. I'm in it for life now. And, it's that one moment that, kind of what you mentioned about decisions, decisions to be in that drainage, the desire or the thought that there was something about that area that just kept drawing me to it, to where it was like, man, we need to be here for some reason. Something's telling me to be here. And all of this winds up happening, and it all just came together. And, where, it's like opportunity meets preparation. I prepared to the point to have this opportunity, and we were able to be successful.
Yep.
So it's not just, you know, I don't think if I would have just drove out with zero knowledge of
Hmm.
anything, just saying I'm just going to go. I mean, people get lucky. I'm not saying that doesn't
Yeah.
happen, but I don't feel like that would have worked for me because I don't have that much luck.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm right there
So,
with you, man. That's awesome. It's such a cool story, and you were able to share that first initial moments with your wife, and obviously your buddy that went out there with you. That's really cool. Again, that he was willing to put in the time and effort, even though it wasn't his tag. Um, it's something special about that, and that's really exciting, man.
mhm,
I can't express it enough to people how it might seem like there's a big or a large barrier to entry when it comes to hunting. And definitely going out of state, it's a little bit different than in state. I would definitely say you get more opportunities with whitetails than you would an elk or mule deer or pronghorn or anything out west. Uh, but at the same time, it's 100% worth it. I
yeah,
can't express that enough to people. And again, you don't have to do it with a bow. I like the bow because you get to go during the rut time of the year,
hmm
um, and you get up close with the animal. You get to have those experiences that, again, if you're with a rifle, it's cool to sit up there in glass and be able to see them, but you can poke at them from a couple hundred yards away. and just figure out packing it out later, you know.
Yeah.
And that's definitely how I that's how I picture things with a rifle. You know, I'm like, I could shoot
Yeah.
that, and then you look around, you're like, it's probably not the smartest place, but we'll figure it out, you know.
Oh yeah.
uh,
Yeah, because that
but yeah, no,
that
that go ahead.
I would say that the larger 5x5 that we've seen, like where he was, had it been rifle season, I mean that would have been the end of that story. Because where
Hmm.
he was, it was 340 yards across the drainage. Had ample opportunities to to get a shot on him and stuff. So, but I wanted to go out there in the rut and hear the sound of my people and you know be immersed in that and have that experience. So.
Yep. Yep, exactly. No, that's really cool. You know, is there anything else about the story that you'd want to share with the audience, or anything, any tips or any advice you'd like to get now that you've come out 2 years in a row and you've spent, 15 plus years dreaming about this? You're 2 for 2. And so what tips, advice, just pointers, words of wisdom, whatever.
I mean, really, the thing I've been trying to tell people that which you had touched on, like it doesn't take a lot to get into it. If you have friends or buddies,
Mm.
offer offer to go out and like Paul did. He said, "Man," he goes, "even if I didn't have a tag, he goes, I was still coming." He goes, I want to go. I want to learn more about it and to be able. And I'm the same way. Like if I don't draw a tag next year, I'm up to go with anybody. Like I'll be a pack mule. I'll go and help call. I'll go and help do whatever because I enjoy it. And that's the thing with
Hmm.
getting people to understand, like just because you don't have a tag in your pocket doesn't mean it still can't be enjoyable and an experience for you. Because,
Exactly.
we both hiking around out there, it was essentially boots on ground scouting. I mean, we have tons of pins now for, walls that we found, bedding areas that we found that are going to help us, if we go out there again, next year or a year after or whatever. Like that is stuff that you can't get unless you're there. I mean, you can e-scout all day, but that type of stuff you can't see.
Yeah.
And but any advice that to give to somebody that's thinking about doing it, whether it's I'm going to put in for a tag or I'm going to start putting in the work to figure it out. If you have friends that do it, um, offer to go and say, hey man, if you're going to drive, I'll split the cost of fuel. It'll be cheaper for both of you. I'll get the experience. I'll help pack you out. I mean, I'll pack out if you get something. I just want to go. And then you can start to really see like, as far as gear, I mean, gear's expensive, but you can kind of get an idea of like, all right, well, I need this. I don't really need that. I need to upgrade this kind of thing. There's so much to it that by just going, you can learn. So like, I mean, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like, just go, just
Yeah.
do it. You know,
Yeah.
Procrastination is the killer of all things. And, just decide, just do it, make a plan, execute it and go enjoy it.
Yeah. No, for sure. I can't agree with you more, man. It's definitely something that you just kind of have to decide to go do it. Um, Obviously, don't abandon your responsibilities,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but at the same time, make sure all that's taken care of so you can take a week, 2 weeks, whatever amount of time that you've got that you can. And even then, something that I'm blessed to be able to work remote, and so I can, I picked up a Starlink, was using that this season. That helped extend the time. I may not have been in the mountains in the middle of the day when I was working, but I was able to hit the morning and the evening hunt and already be up in the mountains and just have to, get back to my spot. So maybe
Hmm.
put in a little more miles than I would have wanted to, but um, I was able to be up there and back down to work. So there's a lot of options out there. What I'm trying to get at. And so
Hmm.
definitely figure that out. Obviously Mike is in the First Form Outdoors Facebook group. So if you're not over there, definitely go head over to the First Form Outdoors Facebook group. You can connect with a lot of people that have had success already this season. Get to know a little bit more about maybe, an elk hunt is in your plan, your 5-year goal. Maybe you're wanting to lose some weight. Maybe you're wanting to shed some fat or get in better shape, or maybe gain some muscle, learn what is necessary as far as gear goes versus stuff that are maybe wants. There's a lot of stuff out there as well that you don't necessarily need. You'll probably see a lot of influencers and a lot of people online, a lot of marketing pushing these higher end items when you don't necessarily need them to be able to go out and have success. There's a lot of different things in there that you can go into the First Phorm Outdoors Facebook group and figure that out just by having good conversations with people that want to see you succeed more than anything, aren't going to pull you down or ignore you because they're jealous because you got some kind of success and they didn't. And that's something that I would recommend as well. Just surround yourself with good people that want to have, or that have the same goals as you, and want you to succeed as well. So, with that being said, Mike, I definitely appreciate you hopping on here, sharing a little bit of your story, how you got into hunting, and then of course your second bull, in within 5 years of each other, and that's amazing. And congrats again on that. Anything else you want to leave with the audience before we hop off here?
No, man. Other than that, I appreciate you having me and taking the time to talk and let me share my story and stuff. And oh, man, like you had said, if I'm in the First Phorm Outdoors group, and that place is a great place to connect with like-minded people that, again, aren't going to gatekeep. They're not going to pull you down. Everybody wants to see everybody succeed. And if anybody on there wants to reach out, need a partner, need advice, whatever. I mean, I myself and a lot of other people are willing to help, educate, again, with all kinds of stuff, fitness, hunting, just general life stuff, man.
Yeah.
So other than that, I don't know, man. Again, I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you, man. Hope you have a good rest of your day. And guys out there listening, I do highly recommend, if you have any kind of goal, whatever it may be, if it is a whitetail goal, if it's pronghorn, mule deer, bear, whatever it is, go ahead and start working on that goal if you haven't already. And again, surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that will keep you going when it takes years and years and years to draw a tag, or to get into the physical shape that you need to be in, or to save up the money to be able to go. You will find those people over in the First Phorm Outdoors Facebook group. Feel free to reach out to me anytime as well. I'm more than happy to help you out there. So with that being said, again, thanks, Mike, for your time today. And as I always say, guys, get out, live your life, and love it.